So if you're in finance today, you're probably feeling this constant pull, this huge tug of war, right? On one hand, you've got to move at the speed of a fintech. You got to innovate, be agile. But on the other hand, you're a bank. You can't just break things. You need that rock-solid stability that customers trust with their money. It's a massive challenge. But there's this company, Bankware Global, and they're saying they have a pragmatic solution. So let's dive in and see exactly what they're talking about. All right, here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll dig into that modernization dilemma I just mentioned. Then we'll look at this pragmatic modernizer idea they've got. After that, we'll check out the actual tools they use, see how generative AI is changing the game. And finally, we'll look at the proof. Does it actually work in the real world? Let's find out. Okay, first up, banking's modernization dilemma. And the subtitle here really nails it, the clash between speed and stability. This is the core problem we've got to unpack.
So it really boils down to this, doesn't it? You have to look at your systems and ask, are these things built for yesterday or are they ready for tomorrow? Is your tech a launch pad that's going to propel you forward? Or is it a giant heavy anchor just holding you back? And let me tell you, the pressure to get that answer right, it's just immense right now.
And look, this isn't just some abstract idea. This chart shows what bank execs are actually putting their money on right now. Now, don't worry about squinting to read every single line. The big story here is how priorities are shifting. You're seeing this massive jump in things like banking as a service, where banks let other companies plug into their tech. And of course, AI and the cloud are just exploding. The takeaway is simple. These are not someday technologies anymore. They are top priorities for right now, this year. So, if that's the problem, what's the solution? That brings us to our next section, the pragmatic modernizer approach. This is all about combining the best of both worlds. This quote really gets to the heart of it. It says, Bankware Global is a pragmatic modernizer, and they combine enterprise-grade stability with the architectural agility of a modern fintech. So what does that mean? Well, think about it. They're carving out this unique space. They're not one of those slow, old-school legacy vendors. But they're also not some risky, unproven startup. They're trying to give you the speed of a fintech, but with the bulletproof stability you'd expect from a major enterprise player. So how do they actually pull this off? The secret sauce is something called microservices architecture, or MSA. Now, stay with me here. The old way of building software was like one giant, tangled block of code, a monolith. If you wanted to change one tiny thing, you risked breaking the entire system. It was terrifying. But MSA is different. It's like building with Legos. You build your application out of all these small, independent services that just talk to each other. It's a complete game changer. And this diagram here, this is that Lego concept in action. You can see how different banking functions, deposits, loans, payments, they're all their own separate little boxes, their own microservices. The magic of this is that you can work on the loan service, you can update it, change it, whatever, without ever touching or risking the deposit service. Think of it like the circuit breakers in your house. If the toaster blows a fuse, your lights don't go out. That's what we call fault isolation. And for a bank, that is absolutely critical for stability. Now, this whole modular approach is also the key to how they think about the cloud. A lot of companies out there do what's called a lift and shift. They basically just take their old, clunky application and drop it onto a cloud server. And yeah, it's on the cloud, but you're not getting the real benefits. What Bankware Global does is build true cloud native. This means their stuff is designed from day one to take full advantage of the cloud's power. It's a difference between, say, scanning a paper form versus filling out a smart digital one. One is just the old way in a new location. The other is fundamentally better, faster, and way more cost-effective. All right, so that's the big idea, the philosophy behind it all. But what about the actual tools? Let's get into the products that make all this agile banking stuff happen. First up, we have their flagship product, BXCBP. This is their Agile Core Banking package, and it's built on that same microservices foundation we were just talking about. So what does that mean for a bank? It means you can modernize one piece at a time. You can avoid that absolutely terrifying big bang approach, where you have to rip out the entire old system and replace it all at once on a single weekend. No way. With this, you can do it progressively, step by step, which massively reduces the risk. It works for brand new digital banks, and it works for traditional banks too. 1 day. Think about that. What could your business do in just 1 day? Well, with their tool called BXPF, or the Product Factory, the claim is you can design, configure, and launch a brand new financial product in as little as 1 day. That's insane. So how do they do it? The genius is that they separated the product logic, the business rules like interest rates and fees, from the complex core system code. This means the business folks, the people who actually understand the products, can build and launch new things themselves without waiting months for the IT department. It takes the time to market from months down to literally a day. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about the elephant in every room right now, the generative AI advantage. And this is not just about jumping on a trend. For them, it's about moving from a buzzword to a tangible, useful tool. All right, take a look at this chart from Gartner. It's super interesting. It maps out all the possible ways you could use Gen AI in banking, and it plots them by how valuable they are and how easy they are to actually do. Now look, right up there in that top quadrant, the sweet spot of high value and high feasibility, what do you see? Code conversion and generation. That's the bullseye. And that is exactly where Bankware Global has been focusing its efforts. And they're not just talking about it, they're doing it. This quote is from a partnership with a major player, WorryBank, and it says they're building the financial sector's first generative AI development support platform. Think about that. Not just an AI platform, but the first one. That's a huge deal and really positions them as a pioneer in this space. So what does this tool, the BX Code Assistant, actually do on a practical level? Well, it does 3 game-changing things. First, it generates code. A developer can just type in what they want in plain language, and the AI drafts the code for them. Pretty cool. Second, it helps find and fix bugs, analyzing code in real time. But third, and for any established bank, this is the holy grail, it can automatically convert ancient legacy code, I'm talking about stuff like COBOL, into modern, flexible languages. That single feature could save millions of dollars and remove one of the biggest roadblocks to modernization. Okay, theory is great. The tech sounds amazing. But talk is cheap, right? What really matters is proof. So let's look at how this all holds up on the global stage with real banks and real money. This competitive chart tells a really clear story. Over here, you've got the old guard, right? The Temenos and Oracles of the world. They're big, they have lots of features, but they're not exactly flexible. Then over here, you have the newer players, like Mambu. Super flexible, very modern, but they haven't really been tested at the scale of a truly massive global bank. And then you see Bankware Global, sitting right in that perfect sweet spot. They're bringing the agility of those newer guys, but with the proven scale and stability of the legacy giants. It's that pragmatic choice again. And here's the social proof. Just look at these logos. We're talking over 100 financial institutions that trust them with their business. And it's not just one kind of customer. You've got the super innovative digital-only challengers like KBank, and then you have ICBC, literally one of the biggest banks in the entire world. When you can satisfy both ends of that spectrum, that says everything you need to know. So let's just tick off the results. We've got new products launched in a single day. We have successful from-the-ground-up launches of digital banks like KBank. We have one of the world's largest banks running on their tech, proving the stability. And we have traditional banks modernizing step by step without all the crazy risk. See, these aren't just things on a sales slide. They are real-world, proven accomplishments. So all this brings us back to that one critical question, the one you need to be asking yourself. As AI stops being a nice-to-have and becomes an absolute necessity, is your modernization strategy pragmatic enough for this new era? Is it truly ready for the challenges of today and, more importantly, the opportunities of tomorrow? Bankware Global seems to have built its entire identity around offering exactly that, a pragmatic, powerful, and future-ready path forward for banking. And that wraps up our look at their approach.